Oh, no, he's there. He's there. Oh, fish. Hi guys, welcome to Early Bird Adventures. This is going to be a little interesting one. I'm basically going to show you how I'm going to re-rig out this new kayak. Pretty much what happened is my old kayak, technically there was a little crack forming underneath, technically right where this back part of this seat would rest. Basically I went through OldTown's warranty service, which they made very easy, and in all reality I got a new kayak hull within like a week. So that was awesome. Not enough people say good things about, you know, that, but their customer service, they honored their lifetime warranty and they made this process very simple and easy. So anyways, this is gonna be a little interesting. Maybe I'll end up making a new video where I just show the finalized product, but I thought it'd be cool. I'm gonna actually continue recording and I might just speed up certain parts, but I'm literally gonna go step by step and show you how I'm gonna re-rig up this kayak. It's basically gonna be very similar to how my old one was. I might tweak some things just a scooch, but basically I thought it'd be very interesting to show you how I'm gonna do that. But I'm gonna show you from start to finish basically how and why I do certain things, and I'm probably gonna slow down the speed of the footage every now and then to explain myself. But basically it's gonna kind of be a hyper fast. I'll try to find some music to play as I'm speeding up stuff, but basically, yeah, I'm going to pretty much rig this sucker out. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please ask questions and I'll answer comments down in the bottom of the video. One thing I will say at the start of this, a lot of the modifications that I'm going to be doing are 3D printed kayak parts from Navarre Kayak Fishing. They are based down in Florida. I love a lot of their stuff. So there's going to be that and stuff like I'm going to be swapping out these front plates right here for these ones that they 3D print. So they basically swap out for a full track replacement instead of the partial one that OldTown does. And it has little slots here that I usually put my pliers, and then I attach my bang stick basically to that I kabonks the fish with. But one thing I would say is when you're dealing with these screws, you want to be using a handheld screwdriver. I know it's going to be a little slower process, but especially plastic likes to expand and contract, and you do not want to be torquing some of these brass fittings with an electric drill. I do know there's some smaller powered ones that are meant to act like handheld, but it doesn't take very long and I prefer just to do it by hand. But you definitely don't want to be using a full power drill for a lot of this stuff. I will be using it for things like installing this V-lock system for my downrigger, obviously, because I'm going to have to drill through the kayak hull, and I'm going to be using lock nut, nuts and bolts to help put that. So I will be using some power tools, but for the most part, I'm just going to be doing stuff by hand. So yeah, I'm going to show you what I do. All right. This is an add-on that I have to do because I'm very much a taller person. So I have this seat basically as far back as OldTown. I think I only have like 2 holes. But basically this helps me get my rod holder, mainly the Ram one, closer to myself. So this allows me to do stuff like this. There we go. So you can see how much closer this gets my rod holder versus if I had it here, it'd be 3 inches farther forward. So that when I'm trolling, I can just grab the rod right out of the rod holder versus having to lean forward and possibly stop pedaling, giving that fish slack to get off. Okay, in this part of the video, you can see I'm starting to install my downrigger with the V-lock system. So I flip up the chair there. You'll see I removed the tube rod holder for the back portion there. And I opened up the middle, entry hatch or whatever. And the black plastic you see in my hand right now is actually kind of like a strengthening plate or washer plate, whatever you want to call it, for the back side of the V-lock system. So the V-lock system technically doesn't need that, but I like it for, especially on the Kayak here, you got plastic that'll flex. Now, all 4 of those bolts are actually going to go into that big plastic, basically plate back there to acting like a massive washer. So it spreads out the weight distribution and allows that to not cause as much strain on your hull. So basically what's going to end up happening here is I'm going to end up drilling 4 holes. You see me just mark it there. And I'm going to basically, right now I'm kind of trying to line it up. But basically I'm lining up the 4 holes. So when I make a drill, I'm measuring twice, drilling once. I don't like drilling holes in my kayak if I can help it. And right now I'm just trying to prep everything to make sure I do it once and do it right. And I actually ended up on this build installing this downrigger way better than I did on my first one. The metal plate, once I lock the V-lock in, actually is resting on the 3D printed basically rod tube, kind of like track delete plate thing that Navarre kayak fishing uses. And so I just think it looks so much nicer and flusher. And in all reality, with the V-lock backing plate, plus the fact that that metal V-lock system is kind of resting on that Navarre 3D printed part, it just allows for a lot less stress on my kayak hull. And I love the look and I love how well it worked out. All right, I'll let you guys get back to watching me set up the kayak.
Okay, right here, I'm installing another track to do something similar to what I did on the other side, which I replaced. They have a natural built-in rod tube with a 3D printed part from Navarre that basically deletes that but makes it a full track. So this is one of the other times that I'm going to drill into my kayak. I'm actually going to drill into, well, right now I guess I switched up. I'm replacing the handle with a 3D printed kayak part from Navarre. That actually allows for a track mount thing, but I use that for my fishhawk screen. I like the handles even if I didn't have track mounted parts, because it allows it's a nicer handle to grip. It's one piece, it's not two pieces. But basically I installed another track right there in front of my seat. I actually used jack nuts to allow, like, basically drill. People use them in metal, like RVs and stuff like that. Basically, it forms a wedge behind, and then you use a bolt that screws it in. Just because the things I'm running off those tracks are big, heavy snap weights with flasher flies, a lot of drag and stuff like that. And then right now I'm actually fishing my power cables from my old kayak. I was able to just pull them out and then fish them back in. So you see right now I'm going through the front hatch. I'm basically dragging it behind. And that'll be for my fish finder, my light, and my fishhawk.
There we go. There we go, guys. I wonder if I can grab you quick. But basically, that's it, guys. He's fully rigged out and ready to fish Lake Superior and Lake Michigan. This is basically how I run it. I'm going to do some fine touch-up things, like I'm going to zip tie this cable here that goes back to my light pole. Other than that, she's pretty much set. I'm also going to install a keel guard, but I'll show you guys that at a later date probably. But you see, I use these two to get these closer to the back here, so it's closer to my seat. So all I gotta do is just grab the rod holder. I'm not leaning forward and stopping my pedal or my forward momentum, possibly giving that fish slack. I got my fish hawk installed here on a Navarre Kayak's replacement handle for track mount. Same thing, I got my fish finder, which is a Garmin Striker 5 on that side. I got some rod tubes back here to, you know, as I'm pedaling out. And you can see how I installed my downrigger with the V-lock system. And this is technically my downrigger rod holder. So my downrigger rod goes over here like this. That way it's, you know, still out of the way of this rod, but it's in my line of sight so I can see a fish strike. And then I have this rod and basically run twos off the side. As you can see, except for the downrigger, I really didn't drill any holes into my kayak. I have the Navarre transducer scupper mount right here, and you can see the cables just run through here. I did this on my old kayak. Basically, the power cable and everything just kind of gets bent, and this rubber gasket just kind of forms around it. I've never had water issues with that. And I have my light pole power and the power to my fish hawk back here come through this this hull exit, same thing, rubber gasket seal. And I have a little plug-in right by my seat here that I'm going to zip tie to my seat that turns my light pole on and off, so I can make sure it's on when we have low light conditions, and then I'm not draining my battery, and I can have it off during the daylight. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, I'll try to get links and stuff in the description for you. Like I said, I basically have V-lock. That's technically a Scotty 1060 downrigger, mostly Ram rod holders, and I do like these Yak Attack. So I use these. I should clarify. I use these Ram rod holders during, you know, like late spring into summer when we're fishing deep and we're fishing a lot of flasher flies with big heavy torpedo weights. I just like the extra security to make sure my rod doesn't go in the water. But in spring fishing, I use a lot more of these Yak Attack AR tube rod holders because it's got this little thing where the rod butt locks into the groove. I've had no issues with that. I just don't like when I'm running 8 to 12 ounce torpedo weights with flasher flies. You get a little bit of a wave. You can add enough slack in there drastic enough to wiggle it out of these AR tubes in a sense that like the rod will flip. I have done it before and it's been fine. 4 and 2 ouncers don't surge enough, but especially with 8-inch flasher flies behind them, and you get 8 to 12 ounces of snap weight behind them, you get a lot more drag on that rod, and a bigger roller can ease enough pressure off it to not necessarily fall out, but definitely cause me some concern. Plus, when we're fishing that deep, there's a lot of extra drag from those snap weights and the flasher flies, and you got big, powerful fish slamming them. It's just a little added extra comfort. Other than that, you can see how on here, I got my stick bait tuners right here. I got my fish caboxer. Ooh, I never added my pliers. I wonder what I did with those. Oh, right here. I got my pliers and my caboxer both on leashes. There we go. Pliers literally just go right in there. Just like that, so they're ready and raring to go. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. And then, like I said, I tied a big metal meat hook to drag my fish behind my kayak and bleed them out. Definitely would recommend this. But yeah, if you have questions about why I did what I did and how I did what I did, leave them down in the comments. Thanks, guys.